internet literally has everything else, but not that.
All right. Speaking of people who have everything.
Hey. We're starting a new episode.
Oh,
here.
yeah, we're starting a new episode. How exciting!
So
what is
we
this?
Need like
episode 6?
Yeah, but we need like an intro here or something.
You killed it last time.
Did I?
Why don't you do an intro?
Welcome to the Bickering Brothers Show. I'm Ryan. This is Dylan. That's Austin. And we're going to discuss some topics tonight.
Starting with, this is a real perplexing question, isn't it? Would you rather be a rich man with a trophy wife who you don't trust, or be the poor pool boy she's cheating on him with?
I'd rather be the rich guy. Because if you got a trophy wife that like isn't loyal to you, you can just dump her and you still got your money. But like if you're the pool boy, I mean, sure, I guess you're having some fun, but that's like all you got going for you.
Right.
It's temporary
fun.
Yeah, she's gonna get tired of you and go to a different pool boy. So then you're just left with nothing but a job, I guess. So.
Absolutely. I mean,
it's not really a wrong
There's no
answer.
other way to look at it. There's no other way to look at it.
Would be fun temporarily.
Yeah, it'd be fun to be the pool boy for a second, I guess. But also you have to think about it when it comes to morals, you know? Yeah. Wouldn't you just kind of feel bad that you're cheating with this guy's wife? I would rather be the rich guy. Have the money. If it falls apart, it falls apart. You're fine.
If you're poor and somebody's cheating on the guy that's rich, you must be a hell of a lot better looking than the guy that's rich. So he must have something going for him. So there's that.
So you would rather be the poor pool boy?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying in that case, that'd be the only way it would make sense. Why would she be cheating on him with the poor pool boy who's got no money?
Something to do.
Is she that bored?
Maybe there's a big age gap. She's not attracted to the guy anymore.
Maybe she's a cougar. Possibly.
Normally it doesn't go that way.
Ideas in
that doesn't happen very often. No.
No. Well, I guess it depends if the rich man is emotionally stable or not. If he's emotionally stable, which I'm going to assume he is because he's got money, then he probably doesn't care. Because most rich people, once they get to that point, they don't really care. But if the rich man still has feelings for this trophy wife, then I'd rather be the poor pool boy.
See, you would have to care as the rich man, like, because that's affecting your image, right? You know, to have a wife that's just running around on you.
It depends.
That makes you look pretty darn bad.
It depends how many people know if she's running around on you.
Right.
I guess. Is she good at running around on him or not really?
All right. Let's move on to this next one here.
We're glad you're still here, by the way.
It just started. We're only 3 minutes into it.
Well, we just made our 5th show.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 54 seconds in. Glad you're still here. Thank you.
We're glad you're still here.
Very impressive. All right. Speaking of,
we've lasted longer than the pool boy has.
In what connotations are you talking?
I don't think I have to explain. The people will get it. If they're still watching, they're clearly intelligent enough to get it.
All right. Let's talk about your thoughts on splitting the bill. Do you pay?
So who are we splitting the bill with? Like in what context?
I'm assuming this is male, female.
Yeah.
Male, female?
Let's just say you're going on a first date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you splitting the bill?
Definitely not something I'm bringing up. I'm gonna take the bill every time. I think the only time that splitting the bill ever becomes something that you go down that avenue of doing is like if you're married, you've been together for a long time, and the female brings it up.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think this is necessarily a situation where you're being asked, are you going to ask your significant other or whoever you're on this date with to split the bill? More or less, if they were to ask you, would you agree to it? I think is more the way the question is worded.
I mean, the situation is extremely important here.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, then yes, because if she's literally offering to split the bill, saying no would just kind of be awkward, wouldn't it? Like, why is she even bringing it up? Because it's one of two things. Either A, she's really nice, or B, and this is the more likely scenario. She probably doesn't like you, and she feels guilty for the fact
Wait.
that you're paying for the
You're
food.
saying that if a
So
woman
there's
asks
only
to
two
split,
options.
if a woman asks to split the bill with you on a first date, that means she doesn't like you.
It's one of the two scenarios. Either A, she's a really good person and she's nice, which could be the case, or B, she doesn't like you and she feels guilty for the fact that you're paying for your meal.
Maybe
I think you're reading into
there's
this really.
there's
deep.
another option. Maybe she just has her own money.
Mm-hmm.
And she's an independent person who
But
is fully capable of paying their own bill.
Even if that's true, though, she's a nice person to offer that. Because old school people would be like, the man pays for it.
So does that mean that every man that buys a woman dinner is a nice man?
No. It's just...
Well, I think that
it's
you know,
just kind
really
of...
terminates the point you're trying to make here.
Well, I think from
Buying somebody dinner, offering to split the bill with them doesn't make them a nice person.
Well, it could.
Well, yeah, of course it
I'm
could.
just saying those are the two likely scenarios.
We're dealing in absolutes.
It'd be
here.
nice
You can't
if we
just
had
say
a
it's
female
only
on the
these
show.
two scenarios.
It'd be nice if we had a female on the show because I really feel like 9 out of 10 cases it would either be A, they're a good person and they feel guilty, or B, they're not into you.
You're just backtracking. You said
So the only
no-
only time it would happen, 1 out of 10 times, is she has a job and can pay for her own bill.
But she's probably a nice person at the same time.
Well, you said it's one of two scenarios, and now you're saying 9 out of 10, and now it could be this way, it could be that way.
I think you're oversimplifying this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started by saying that in pretty much every case, I'm never going to even bring it up that, hey, can you take part of the bill? I'm never going to be the one to bring it up. She has to bring it up.
Bold. Here's a bold one. Do you ask her to pay for the whole thing?
Absolutely not, especially with the prices of my dinners.
How
what do you
expensive
Those
are
bills,
your
those
What are you
bills
ordering?
get pretty fat.
Multiple entrees?
You guys have ate with me before. Any bill, when I go out to eat, any bill that comes in under like $25 is, I'm doing good on that day if I stay below $25.
Wow.
Between appetizers, the meal, sometimes
Well, hold
dessert.
on. What kind of restaurant are you going to then?
Applebee's.
I mean,
Buffalo Wild Wings if you want to spice it up.
Applebee's, Buffalo Wild Wings. Shout out.
Nothing's fancier than Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, shout out JJ's Steak and Pizza House in town. Yeah, I mean,
Steak and Pizza House?
JJ's Steak and Pizza House. Isn't that not what it's called?
I don't know what the
I'm
name
pretty
of
sure
it
it's
is either.
Steakhouse, right? Not Pizza House.
You know, I've never come across
This
a
is going to
pizza
bother
house
me. Can you
before.
look this up, please?
Yeah, sure. Let's
yeah.
do it right now.
Do the people really care?
There's no way
what the
it's-
name of the restaurant
There's
is.
no
It's kinda
way
off
it's
topic.
Steak and Pizza House. There's
I'm
no
pretty sure
way.
it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
I've never heard a place being called a pizza house.
JJ's Steak and Pizza
No
House. There it
fucking
is.
way.
Steak and
I was
pizza
just
house.
I was just there on Saturday. I think I know what it's called.
A Pizza House. All right, I stand corrected. That's
You
wild.
drive by it every day on your way to work and you don't know what it's called.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you. I'm hardly looking at it. I've never
I
heard
know
of
you've
a,
ate there before.
I've never heard of a pizza house.
They need
That's-
to.
Well,
They need to
you've heard of
change
one
the
now.
name. That's
All right.
They need
Okay.
to change the name. That's terrible. Pizza house.
Okay, I'm taking back your shout out. Get a
Who?
different name and I'll shout you out.
Who are you?
JJ's Steak and
JJ's.
Pizza House.
Oh.
They were the ones I shouted out.
Oh, no more name dropping.
I
just
feel like-
business shout outs.
Yeah, they got good food there.
Calling your business a pizza house just kind of puts you in the ballpark of like Chuck E. Cheese.
What if you call it a Pizza Hut?
What's
you
wrong
know?
with Chuck E. Cheese?
There's a lot of things wrong with Chuck E. Cheese.
Germs.
Come on. Go ahead, try and defend Chuck E. Cheese.
No,
I
we're,
would
that's
love to
not
hear what you have to
that's
say.
that's not part of a question. We're gonna move on.
It's a question now. I'd love to hear it
I'm not defending Chuck E. Cheese.
because you can't.
Well, I'm
That's
not,
the
I'm
only
not
reason you
passionate
wouldn't.
enough to try and defend Chuck E. Cheese.
What are you
I've
passionate
been there
about?
once or twice in
You know
my
what?
whole
That's
life.
What's
that
one-
makes me extremely happy that you're not that passionate about
No.
Chuck E. Cheese.
I can't remember
I
the
probably
last
wouldn't
time
be
I've
your
been
friend
there.
if you were.
what's one thing that you're so passionate about that you will always defend?
I don't know. Can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure later in the show I'll think of something. We'll get into one of these topics
Yeah,
and I'll
we'll get
defend
back
something.
to that.
Do you have any terrible habits that you can defend?
Terrible habit. Well, there's no such thing as a terrible habit you can defend.
There is.
Yeah,
I'm not sure there is if it's a bad habit.
you can still defend it.
And you can
I'm-
still have it and
I'm-
take part in it.
I'm
What's
not
your bad habit?
You want to know what my bad habit is? Because
is the
the
question.
no, the question is, what's the
Think I
worst
just
habit
asked
you
you
can
that.
have?
He's paraphrasing.
Yeah. Roll with that.
It's within the rules.
Worst habit you can have. I think lying's the worst habit you can have. Consistently telling people something that isn't true is a terrible habit. Because lying's contagious.
It's a good
you tell
answer.
one lie and somebody else finds out about it, then you have to tell a different lie, and you just dig yourself a deep hole really fast. And I think lying, I think the main reason people lie is they want to be entertaining, right?
No, it's because they want to
No,
get get out of their own actions.
Yeah, they either want to persuade you or they want to cover their
I don't
tracks.
think anybody ever lies to be entertaining.
In some cases. I
like
mean, I guess
what?
that's more called exaggeration.
I think that's exaggerating.
Exaggeration,
normally.
but yeah. Lying's a terrible habit, and I think it's too easily passed on nowadays. Like, people just get a pass for lying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people are held accountable for telling the truth anymore. It's why so many people are non-committal nowadays.
Do we want to get into that?
I
Feels like you're toying around with a completely different subject here.
I'm answering the question. Lying is a bad habit. It's probably, I mean, outside of murdering a man, what do you think is the worst habit you can have?
If
you're
murder is a
murdering
habit,
people
that's
as a
a
habit,
severe
you're a serial
problem.
killer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just, if you want me to go into like the worst things that you can do, you could be a rapist, you could be a murderer. I have a habit.
Those are habits.
Yeah, I mean,
Those
but
are-
Yeah, I just
I
got
don't
this.
think those are
I'm
habits. I
if
think
it-
that
if it's a habit,
we're going
then
into
you are
those
psychotic,
extremes.
I
I mean, you could be a terrorist. I mean, there's a lot of bad habits if you want to get
I have a
worse
bad
than lying.
habit of committing terror. Yikes. I think the worst habit you can have is probably gym selfies. You take one and they keep on coming.
It's like chickenpox.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Got to get vaccinated for it.
I've never had chicken.
it's very infectious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of us have.
I've never had the chicken.
Shout
pox.
out to vaccines. They are effective and good.
Mhm.
Shout out Bickering brothers for never having chicken pox.
Yeah, that's a real accomplishment, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, the worst habit you can have is just not being organized.
Mhm.
Like, your entire life is just a chaotic mess if you're not organized. And who wants to be around that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely the worst habit you can have. Then you have bad spending habits, bad time management habits.
Mm-hmm.
That just affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chain reaction. All right. Let's move into your thoughts on toxic masculinity. I feel like you have some thoughts on that.
Oh, let's let him go first. He brought it in. I want to hear what he has to say.
Fuck Andrew Tate.
See, I knew he
Amen.
had something to say. That's
Amen.
It's just the first thing that comes to mind.
It's been.
Can you think of a more miserable human being than
Not currently
Andrew
alive,
Tate?
I don't think.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Romania should have kept him, or whatever country he was in. We don't want him here.
It's been a long
It's
time
one of
since
the
I heard that name.
Anias.
One of the Anies.
It's been a long time since I heard that name. I remember when he was trending a while back, probably like a year ago.
Yeah,
he was
weren't you a
all over
supporter of
social
his?
media. I've seen some clips that he had. He made some good points in some of his videos, but I never knew enough about him to say I was a definitive supporter. I knew he was being canceled, but no, I'm not educated enough on Andrew Tate to give a strong opinion.
Andrew Tate's not educated enough on anything to have a strong opinion about something.
Well, then there you go.
Fucking idiot.
I can second that.
You know, I'm not a bad person, but there are certain individuals that if they just like decided to jaywalk and got hit by a bus, like I would not care.
Okay, so so educate me, Andrew Tate. What do you have against Andrew Tate?
The whole toxic masculinity scene.
Mhm.
He's very anti-feminism, which I guess isn't a bad thing because feminism can be interpreted in different ways. You know, I'm not against the feminist movement, but it can be extreme at times. He's completely the polar opposite. Very old school. You might let's say all of the bad characteristics that could be associated with old school. You know, the stay in the kitchen, make me a sandwich, do my laundry type shit. That's kind of the vibe he gives off.
That's exactly what he embodies.
Yeah, he's not a good person to have in the forefront of media. Nobody should be looking up to this guy. He shouldn't be influencing people like he is. The fact that
It's crazy
people
that he
are
even
being,
has that much influence.
yeah, the fact that people are being influenced by him is a bit alarming.
Extremely
But
alarming.
I digress. Such is life.
The thing is, like, the people that he is influencing, they're like completely changing their lifestyle to like follow his lifestyle.
It's sad when you can't have
a society.
That kind of back to our habit question. Isn't that one of the worst habits you could have, of trying to be somebody else instead of trying to be yourself?
Well, it's sad when a person can't have an original thought and all they are is pieces of people around them. You see it a lot.
It's pretty common. I mean, you see someone who's popular on the internet and you try and embody them because you want to be popular. It's kind of like an envy thing.
Or even like for just a simpler example, if you guys ever hung around with someone like for an extended period of time and then you start talking like them or acting like them and you don't even realize it and somebody else catches you, that happens a lot. It's just people rub off on other people.
Ever fallen into that trap
that's
before
happened to
personally.
Me well, then good for you, because I definitely catch myself saying things that I would never have said before I hung around certain individuals.
What kind of things are you saying?
I don't know. I don't have any examples off the top of my head.
These like
just this
extremely offensive
simple
things.
Stuff. This sayings.
Let's go, Brandon.
Sayings. I don't know.
I hope not.
Those are not things I've heard in a while.
I think that people want to hear what you would do professionally.
If you could do anything professionally, what would it be?
Yeah.
Definitely play a sport.
Which one?
No
what
question.
Sport?
Basketball. Obviously, I'm too white for that, but there is no way that I would play any other sport except basketball professionally. Football, I'd probably die of CTE early. Just look at what happened to Antonio Brown. Baseball, I'd be bored out of my mind. 162 games a year. I would, that's too much. Too many games. Hockey, I can't even skate, so it wouldn't be hockey. But if I could play basketball professionally, can you imagine if every day we went out to Bayview and got paid to play?
That's hardly professionally.
No, I'm just saying that'd be the life, to play basketball. In a nice warm arena.
Be enjoyable.
Half the time during the regular season, there's not enough people watching to truly put on an embarrassing performance.
What if you had to play me every day? Would that still be the life?
Yeah. We had good times at Bayview. What are you talking about?
I recall, maybe that was more at the high school gymnasium, but I recall you getting quite angry on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I'm a little competitive, but
well, I guess I can't say you were.
If I was playing professionally, I hope I'd be a little competitive.
I'm sure that's what Draymond said when he was in AAU. Anyhow, I guess I shouldn't pick on you because it's not like you've ever kicked a trash can over a game of 2-on-2.
No, I've done some other things, but no trash cans are safe around this guy.
Don't call me out for that. I'm a passionate player.
Yeah.
Overly competitive.
Yeah.
You get tired of losing to Brett, especially when your partner is Austin over here and he's shooting threes every
step back threes that are contested
for no reason whatsoever. All right.
Well.
What would you do professionally?
Thank you. I was getting nervous there that you
were
just going to move past me.
I want you to answer.
I think I would be a film critic. I swear I'm not arrogant, but when it comes to movies, nobody has better taste than I do. I think I see things differently. I think I'd be really good at it.
Don't want to be arrogant, but no one does it better than me.
Just disclaimer makes it okay, right?
Coming from a Draymond fan, that's quite the line.
Why do you keep going back to Draymond?
Because
leave Draymond alone. He doesn't.
Yeah, leave Mr. Triple Single alone. That's my hero.
Saginaw
grit.
Arrogance and Draymond ooze together. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That's what put him in the NBA. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
There's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, and most of it just stems from how much you can back up. Draymond backs most of it up. Recently, he hasn't, so he's really looking bad recently.
In his defense, he's getting old.
Yeah, in his younger years, he was really good, so it doesn't really come across as arrogance. Nobody ever says that Michael Jordan was okay. Never mind. I'm not saying that because people say all the time that Michael Jordan was arrogant. So that's a terrible example.
Yeah, but he had reason to be. He was the best basketball player ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Be careful. There's LeBron fans out here that are going to want to come through the screen.
Please, if only they could.
I doubt it.
If there's any LeBron fans watching, we'll have you on the show to argue about it next time.
You gonna call any of them out by name?
No, I'm just if there's any LeBron
turned a new
fans
leaf.
out there.
It's been 3 days and no more name dropping. I'm proud of you.
No, but since he brought
character development.
Well, it's funny since he brought
a single name has been dropped.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Well, since he brought up being a movie critic, I just thought it was funny because if I could do anything professionally as a critic, it'd be the Dave Portnoy route and be a pizza critic. Could you imagine just going around and tasting pizza and giving it a rating?
Well, the whole one bite, everybody knows the rules. I think you would struggle with that.
Yeah, I'd probably eat the whole thing.
Yeah,
That'd be an
four
issue.
slices. Everybody knows the rules.
Well, I have
All
to.
right, turn the camera off.
I need.
I want to finish this pizza.
I need one more piece to make sure. I
Yeah,
can
when the
rate
homeless
this
guy
properly.
walks by and asks for a slice, he won't be getting one anymore.
No.
This ain't Dave, bitch.
This is all mine.
No.
Get your own pizza.
Shout out Dave Portnoy for taking a picture with me and Ryan over there.
Not
There
at
it
the,
is,
not
there
at the
it is.
same time. Separate pictures with
Yeah.
both of us.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yep.
Why separate?
Well, because I asked him, hey, can I get a picture with you? And then he obliged, and Austin did the same. It'd be weird if we're like, hey, can we get
Group picture.
menage a trois with Dave Portnoy?
Hey, little did he
Fair
know
enough.
he could have got a picture with the Bickering brothers, but I
Yeah.
think he's got bigger fish to
Yeah.
fry.
That was a real missed opportunity.
Brandon Walker. I got my picture with Glenny Balls. That was probably the highlight of the day.
Is he the ice cream guy?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Oh, that's cool. Pretty
Yeah.
sweet. Okay, if I could do anything professionally, it would be golf. Because you know how
Ooh.
easy of a lifestyle they have? And all you do is you go play
Man,
golf
you
and
drained
make-
that one putt on the 9th hole in Rogers City and
Dude, I literally...
chasing a dream.
I had a crowd.
I know,
And they
that was-
started cheering for me.
Yeah, they didn't notice the other 3 balls you fucking whacked into the woods trying to tee off on that one. By the
Well,
time we came around to the green,
Luckily, they were old
you
enough
plopped
to
it
have
right up
glaucoma,
there and, you
and they
sank
couldn't
the
see it.
putt, and that was a moment. I was happy for you.
Oh,
Well, I will say.
Even did the whole like wave thing.
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Tiger moment.
Well, I will say, like, for me, I said playing basketball, but the thing is, if you could golf professionally, you can do that the rest of your life. Like, age
Right.
doesn't have a limit on golf like it does
Oh, yeah.
basketball. Basketball, shoot, by the time you get to 37 years old, your body's giving up on you.
Yeah, it's definitely not as hard on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you can make so much money. Look at some of the golfers in, was it Saudi Arabia? That new league that they have. They're making ridiculous amounts of money.
Oil money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You look like you're contemplating which one you want to talk about next.
Pick one.
Go ahead.
Well, the one underneath it is, why is change hard for people?
Let's dive into a deep subject.
So I suppose I'll
Go
take
for it.
I suppose I'll take the
You
lead.
wanted to talk about it?
Comfort zones. That's why. People like falling into their comfort zones. What's easy for them is what is recognizable. We're creatures of habit. And when things change, we have to break those habits. We talked about habits earlier. And if you're in bad habits and you're in a comfort zone doing those things, and somebody calls you out for it and says, hey, you got to do this instead, that ain't easy. Somebody tells you to stop lying, stop cheating, stop watching porn, it's going to be tough.
Has somebody asked you to do that before?
No, I'm just saying.
The
Somebody.
fact that your mind
Yeah.
immediately went to those three things
No, I'm
is
just-
kind of alarming.
I'm just saying, like, those are some bad habits that people could have, and so go back to the habits question. But yeah, it's hard when somebody tells you, you got to cut that out and you got to make changes. It ain't easy.
Well, I mean, you are hardwired to seek comfort. That's why change is hard, because you're uncomfortable.
Yeah,
when you go through change.
nobody has become successful by living in their comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone at some point.
Inspirational. Amazing.
Yeah,
You should write a book.
I should write a book.
What would it be called?
He asked me if I should write a book, and now I have to have a name for it.
I just
Why
asked
not?
you a question.
I have
guess
to have
so
a name for it.
defensive.
And first of all, I ain't writing a damn book. And
Well, there
secondly,
goes that.
secondly,
Well, you
there's a
don't-
lot that goes into putting together a well-written piece. But I used to write sports. You know how long it would take me to come up with a headline for a story? You got to be creative.
Was that the
I'm not just
hardest
gonna
part?
have something at the spur of a moment.
Was that the hardest part, coming up with the title?
In times, yeah, because you want it to be catchy, but you don't want it to be corny. You want it to grab someone's attention, but you don't want it to be like too corny.
Do you think you were more corny or more catchy more frequently?
I thought, well, catchy, but that was after thinking about stuff for a half hour. If you asked me in the spur of a moment to give me a title, I'm not going to be able to give you a good one. So
Should have took some creative writing classes.
I actually did. Shout out Mr. Way.
Oh,
Who?
Mr. Way.
Mr.
No
Way.
Not familiar with that fella.
You
Yeah.
missed out.
Did I?
Oh yeah.
He was a
Quite
fella.
quite a teacher. All right.
So are we skipping that one over there?
What one?
What?
Oh,
He
you
has
didn't have
to
an
answer.
answer. You didn't even have an
What
answer.
was the question?
Why is change hard for people?
I don't know. People are stubborn.
Stuck in their ways.
Yeah, very much so. I don't really know how to describe why it's hard for people. Some people just make things hard. I mean, I don't know. Life seems pretty simple to me. Do what's best for others. Do what makes you happy. Take it all in stride. But some people don't like to do things that way.
Comfort zones, that's why.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of head bobbing right
Yeah.
there.
a lot of intelligence coming out
You
of it.
literally look like a bobblehead when I looked over.
Well, someday if we get famous making this show, there'll be bobbleheads of all three of us.
I'd love to hear your answer on this one. Would you
Hit me
rather
with
have telepathy or telekinesis?
Well, I had to have you educate me on both of those earlier, and my short-term memory forgot to answer to both of them. So educate me what each of them is, and then I'll answer.
So telepathy is knowing what other people are thinking, and telekinesis is being able to move things with your mind.
I'd rather be able to know what other people are thinking.
Absolutely not. No. That's the last thing I want to know.
Really?
So you don't want to know what these people are thinking right now?
No.
That's fair.
Do you want to know what I'm thinking right now?
Oh God.
Well, that sounds
Now that
like
you asked,
that sounds
yes.
like a threat. So I don't. I'm not sure I want to know what you're thinking at this point.
Well, I've just proven my point.
Well, yeah, you probably did make I just don't understand the whole concept of being able to move things with your mind. Like, educate me on that then. I'm not sure what the benefit of that would be. So,
Hypothetical. Say you want to take that rabbit home with you. You could just pick it up with your mind and put it in your Jeep right now.
sounds like a Star Wars Force thing.
Almost,
Essentially, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know what.
So it's not a real thing then. That's not a realistic.
Neither of these are realistic.
Well,
you can't
no,
read
you
people's
can't do
minds.
either. Neither of them are realistic.
That's such a tough question then, because we're
Would you
we're
rather-
dealing with theoreticals that don't exist, which makes it a tough
Theoreticals. Okay.
Theoreticals
I just had to process that for a minute. Theoreticals. Not sure if I've ever heard that. So essentially, would you rather have the Force, or would you rather be able to read minds?
Definitely rather have the Force. I was just thinking from a realistic standpoint. Like I thought the first option there is actually something some people have. Silly
Well,
me.
it's debatable. Some people claim
But
they
I've
have
never
it.
heard of telekinesis.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, some people claim they have it.
Yeah, like those weird people on YouTube that like pretend to move a pencil. They're
The ones
actually
that's-
just like shaking the table.
so like we're gonna shake the rabbit here. No, I made sure I didn't
Drop
knock
this
the
little
rabbit
cork
off.
puller there.
So you'd rather
Wait,
have
what did you say?
telekinesis?
No, just making sure I didn't knock the rabbit off.
Okay, I thought I misheard that.
What did you think I
I
said?
thought you said you want to make sure you didn't jerk the rabbit off. What the fuck?
Yikes.
That bunny don't need no carrot.
I think it's been through enough trauma having to listen to us.
That rabbit does not
Well,
need.
his ears are facing that way, so hopefully he's.
Hopefully
he's just deaf.
Hopefully,
that
he's
would
deaf.
be best case scenario.
Hopefully the rabbit does not have telekinesis, or we might be leaving the room soon.
Forcibly.
Yep. You take that bottle opener and shove it down our throats. Would you guys rather be the person who breaks up with somebody or be the person who's broken up with? Because I have an answer for this one. I'm not sure you guys will agree. I 100% would rather be the person who gets broke up with. Because there's nothing
depends on the
worse.
situation.
There's nothing worse than being the person who has to dump. To do the
you
dumping.
just feel bad.
Yeah, because you just feel an insane amount of guilt. There's no good way to do it.
But what if they're also on the same page with you?
That makes it
Then there-
easier, but
then
it's
there's
still
nothing to feel bad about,
It
right?
makes it easier, but it's still difficult. There's nothing harder than literally telling somebody,
Well,
"I
this-
don't
this
want
just-
to be with you anymore."
This
I don't
just
care
goes
what the
back
reason
to
is.
the comfort thing. Like people just crave comfort.
This is true, but like my thing is, if you go through a breakup and somebody breaks up with you, if somebody breaks up with you, you can like use it as motivation or fuel, or hey, I wasn't good enough, and you can like move on from it quicker. It's gonna sting more initially, but you can move on from it. But if you're the person who dumps somebody, yeah, you might be okay with it now, but you're going to like live with that guilt. And if you see that person again in the future, you're going to have to be like, you're just going to bear that every time you see them, that, hey, I broke up with them. Now, obviously there could be extreme examples where your partner was cheated on you. They,
Yeah, I mean,
there are some examples where you wouldn't feel guilty, but
Right.
just considering the normal circumstances, it sucks.
You could just be civil about it.
I mean, you could be
just
civil, but it's
just
still
be
it
honest
still makes you
about
feel it still makes you feel guilty.
I don't know. I think
I don't think it has
if
to
you're
make
in a
you feel
relationship with a
guilty,
mature person,
exactly.
there shouldn't be a whole lot of guilt as long as you handle it the right way.
So you'd rather be that person than the one that's getting dumped. Okay. Interesting conversation, because I've always thought
If you're in
opposite
a
on that.
relationship with an irrational person who doesn't handle stress well, or I don't know how to put it into words exactly, but you know the type I'm talking about, that might go crazy and want to kill you or something, or just go into a mass depression and blame you for it. That wouldn't be a whole lot of fun. But
That's a
I
lot
shouldn't
harder
really
of a
be
situation.
shouldn't really be putting yourself in that situation to begin with.
Sometimes that also just pops up, and you don't realize you got yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said about, using it as fuel, I feel like you should just value yourself all the time. So you shouldn't even have to use it for fuel.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
depending
that's
on
true.
the situation, sometimes it is best for both of you. And you shouldn't feel bad when that's the case.
Right.
And also you shouldn't feel bad for how you feel yourself.
True.
Yeah.
Like I said, every case is different, but there are some cases where it's like literally somebody's telling you that, you're not good enough anymore. In some cases, and in those cases, I'd say that
That's why it really matters how you word things and how you approach the situation.
right, for sure.
Because no one wants to be the person who just sends someone else's life into a spiral.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there's
and
no
it-
worse
and
feeling than that.
Yeah, and that's why I brought this up, because I think that's one of
Have
the
you ever
worst.
sent someone down a spiral? Or has your
Y-
life
kind
been
of,
sent down
yes.
a spiral?
At one time in my life, I made someone really upset, and I mean, on that same subject, it also goes back to I remember bus rides in junior high and high school. Some of my biggest regrets in life is picking on people, to be honest with you, because there's nothing you can ever do to correct the fact that you bullied somebody. Like,
Oh, yeah,
if
you
you
can't
see
take it
that
back.
person in public nowadays, like, you want to apologize, but like, I'm just waiting for them to be like, "Fuck you!" Like you know how you made me feel in that moment. Like,
yeah, but see, the thing
it's-
is, you
it's
can
tough.
go up to them and apologize. Like
It's probably
I know it's uncomfortable, but like obviously depending on what you did,
Mm-hmm.
but you should be able to go up to them and say, "Hey, you know what? I used to be a jerk to you. I have no issue with you now, and I didn't back then."
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, you just when you look back on it, you realize you picked on them for no reason because you
Right.
thought it was funny because you were trying.
Or
to
you're
be
trying
cool.
to be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the worst feelings to look back on those moments and be like, "Wow, that was too much."
Right. And also, that can be a very awkward conversation to have, especially if you just see them at the grocery store.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen a few people that I feel like I was not right to at one point, and it's tough.
It's very tough. It's hard owning your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Everything goes back to comfort. Is it better to have a small group of friends or a big group?
I don't think we're gonna have any disagreement on that one. I think small circle, and I don't care what anybody says. Big group is just, it's inviting more problems having a big group of friends, just because of the way people operate.
Right.
There's too
You don't
many.
know if
There's
you
too
can
many.
trust everyone.
Exactly. There's too many. He said, she said. Like, big groups, there's just more potential for problems. Keep your group small and.
I mean, you see it all the time with celebrities, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get a big entourage around them, and then they just end up mysteriously losing money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wasn't it Allen Iverson? He went bankrupt because
Probably.
a lot of his friends were just stealing money from him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty common.
Yeah.
People find someone who's successful, they try and leech off of them, and that's why it's important to
Yeah.
have a smaller group
and
who you
to
trust.
and to add to that, it'd just be like, say you're left on a deserted island to survive, and you have a choice. You could either be with 3 people or 50 people. You might choose 50 people at the moment.
That's a better question than the one we were
You-
just asked.
well,
Hang
you-
on a sec. Let's think
I'm-
about that.
Well, I'm just going to continue, and then we can go back to it.
All right, never mind.
Because I had a point to draw off of it. I didn't want to forget the point. So the point is, in
My
that
bad.
moment, you're going to say
Sorry.
50, right? Because you want more people to be in your shoes, and you obviously you have a better chance of solving problems if there's 50 of you versus 3.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the deal: if you choose 3, eventually over time you're going to become way closer with those 3 people. And you're going to have way more of a bond with those 3 people because you had to come together. Where if there's 50 of you, you're not going to be as close. And at the end of the day, I think personal relationships are as important as anything. Like, humans are not meant to thrive by themselves. Some do, some don't. But humans are meant to feed off of each other.
Very social creatures. Almost
Yeah.
every animal in the animal kingdom is
Yeah.
a social creature.
I mean, there's not many people that literally thrive by themselves.
I feel like the sloth is probably the exception. When's the last time you saw like a herd of sloths?
To be honest, I've never seen a sloth in the wild because
Well,
we're from Michigan.
Sid
but
the sloth on Ice Age needed all the help he could get from his fellow companions.
This is true.
But
Another fictional character
Yeah,
that carries
Yeah,
no
it-
relevance
I
to
feel
the
like,
real world.
when you say
but-
sloth, I think Sid.
yeah.
sloths in general.
Well,
I feel
from
like
what
are
I
pretty
know, they just
helpless.
hang out in trees by themselves. They don't really congregate and have sloth conventions and
I think
get
it's 'cause
together
they
to
spend-
watch the game.
They spend too much time sleeping.
Great problem
that's-
to have.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
no time to congregate.
But
Do
You're
bears ever
sleeping
like
18
hibernate
hours a day.
together?
well, if they're sleeping, I'm not sure why it would matter if they're in a group or not.
Well, I think bears normally like a female bear, if
Mhm.
it's pregnant, I think they normally give birth to their cubs while they're hibernating. So I think they're technically
They give birth
sleeping.
in their sleep.
I'm pretty sure that's how
That's
it
a
works.
crazy.
Because
creature.
normally,
Wow.
they emerge from hibernation with cubs. So we can see if
Wonder what
that's
the cub
case.
does when it comes to, just wait for your mom to stop hibernating. Like, hopefully she does
Yeah,
soon. I
first
don't
question.
know.
Save you some typing.
Nice. Cubs
Wow.
are usually born within the first 2 months of hibernation.
Hmm.
So yeah, they are sleeping together.
Hmm.
Interesting.
The more you know.
The more you know, the smarter you get. For some of us, anyway.
Okay.
But back to
So-
he wanted to go into that question about would you rather be on an island with 3 people or 50, and then I kind of made my point and said we'd come back to it. So
I still feel like 50 is better.
Mhm.
Just off the top of my head, I'm sure if I was to think about it longer, maybe I'd change my opinion. But if you're trying to get off an island, the more people you have to help you, I think the better.
Right.
Yeah, I'd go with 50.
Also, what if the 3 people are part of the 50? Like with what you were talking about earlier. You could still become close with the 3.
yeah, I'm just saying.
And you could also have higher chances of escaping the island because you have more people who can put their brains together and figure out a solution.
All I know is 7 wasn't enough for Gilligan.
He did get off the island, though.
And then they ended
Thanks
up
for
back there.
spoiling it.
Then they ended up back there at the end
Spoiling
of the movie.
it. This was the 70s. If you don't know how it ends, I mean, how much time do I
I'm
need
not-
to give you?
John Denver's
haven't-
been
I
dead
haven't
for
caught
like
up
5
yet.
years now. So
Bob Denver.
my
I
bad.
think John was the
John
singer.
Denver. Yeah, John Denver died in the 90s.
Bob Denver, my bad.
I guess he's not wrong. I mean, John Denver's dead too, but John Denver did not play Gilligan.
Yeah.
No. He also died in a pretty dramatic way, though. He
Mm.
died in a plane crash.
That's how a lot of them musicians back there.
Yeah, he was.
Where were
He
you
got
when
his
Skinner
pilot's
went down?
license, and he was
He
flying.
was the pilot.
Yeah, he was flying an experimental aircraft, and it went down.
Mm.
Hmm.
Well, that's kind
That's-
of that's
That's a lesson in itself.
no,
Don't fly experimental
no, I
aircraft.
think they twist that.
No.
Experimental aircrafts aren't actually experimental aircrafts. They're
They're
just,
just
labeled.
not regulated by the
Yeah, they're
FAA.
labeled that as a loophole, so they're more accessible and cheaper for people to purchase and fly. It's not like it's a new type of aircraft that we don't know if it's gonna hold air under its wings. Like, they're regular airplanes. They just call them experimental for that reason.
Shout out Valentine's Day for being the worst holiday.
Valentine's
feel
Day
like
isn't
that-
the worst
I feel like
holiday.
that-
no.
What did Valentine's Day ever do to you?
Is it because you're single right now?
I just never enjoyed it. Even when I had a partner, I didn't enjoy it. It was like a burden. Like you had to buy flowers and dinner on that day because if you didn't, you were a bad person. I'd rather buy dinners and flower or buy flowers and dinner, not the other way around. Just occasionally to show appreciation. I don't need a holiday to tell me to do it for me. I never liked it.
See, I feel like there's a lot of things that you can do other than.
Well, yeah, those are
dinner and flowers.
That's just an example. That's just one example. But it's like you don't need to have a holiday to express your appreciation for a partner.
You can make it a fun thing.
Yeah, you
like,
don't need
where
to
you like make some new memories that you wouldn't have had otherwise. You can do different
but
things
do you need
that
a
you haven't
special
done
day
before.
Do you need a special day for it though?
Well, you don't need Christmas to buy
don't need
gifts either, but that
Yeah.
doesn't make it a bad thing.
Yeah, you don't need a special day to do it, but it also like kind of makes you play your hand, right? Like.
Yeah, I guess. I just feel like
it's a day, and you're like, you know what? For this day, we're doing this.
It feels
it's
like
something to look forward to.
It feels like it's forced versus just naturally doing it because you want to do it. That's my only problem.
Yeah, well, it's still fun though. It's not like there's a blueprint.
If you're mentally forcing yourself to do it,
then you probably shouldn't be with that person.
Probably shouldn't be with that person, and also, no, it's not going to be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. If you're actually with someone you enjoy being with and you appreciate their company and enjoy being around them, then Valentine's Day is a thing you should look forward to. Not a burden like, oh, I have to do this for this person. Like
if you're having those thoughts, then you need to break up with your partner. Valentine's Day inspiration from the Bickering brothers. Get out of your comfort zone. Adapt.
Are we sure that we want Austin giving relationship advice?
I mean, you guys just agreed with
sure.
it. You just agreed with me.
I did not agree with that.
Yeah, if you're having second thoughts and you feel like you're forcing yourself to do it, then you probably should get out of that relationship. Just piece of advice, wait till after Valentine's Day so you don't turn into the guy I talked about earlier who dumps his significant other on a holiday. That's as bad as it gets.
Who's the guy you talked about earlier? Were you talking about yourself?
I may or may not have been talking about myself, but we were talking about what's worse. Being the guy
No way. You did that on
No,
Valentine's
I didn't
Day?
do it. No, because I had some self-awareness and I waited until after the significant day.
Was it the day after?
No, it wasn't even around Valentine's Day.
12:01?
It was around a different significant day.
Her birthday?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, my goodness.
No, but I waited till after. That's what you do.
How long after?
Like a week?
Was that the worst week of your life, having to wait that long?
Not really.
How long
for that week I could avoid it.
How long did you know that you were gonna do it?
Too long. So that's my thing. I'm trying to give the people some advice.
Was it months?
Probably a couple months, but it's like when you know, and it's just it sucks having to do what you don't want to do. But you got to do it. You know that's my other analogy.
If it was 2 months
hey,
that you knew you wanted to break up with her.
Yeah.
You probably should have done it at that point instead
you
of
knew
the week after.
You knew she wasn't the one when she sent the pizza to the wrong hotel after the Pistons game.
Yeah, that must have just really grinded your gears.
That was the breaking point right there. But
that sounds alarmingly like something Andrew Tate would say.
I have another.
Here she went out of her way to order the pizza.
It accidentally sent it to the wrong hotel room, and nope, I guess we're just getting by until after her birthday and then kicking her to the curb.
Hey, that was being sarcastic, guys.
That sealed the deal, right there.
It was a joke. Right? It was a joke, but
hardy.
I do have
certainly hope so.
I do have another analogy. Speaking of things that are tough to
those.
do. No, the audience will get a kick out of this, and for those people who know me well, I've probably heard this analogy a lot.
You probably will.
Crying is like puking. Crying sucks, but you have to do it to get over something. Just like when you're sick and you got to throw up, you don't want to. It sucks. Those 30 seconds are going to be very unenjoyable, but when it's over, you'll feel better.
I've never heard that analogy.
Yeah,
before.
I don't think it makes
sense
either.
Never.
How does that not make sense? Debate this.
Did you come up with that yourself?
Yeah, I did. This is what I'm. People who know me know that I say this a lot.
Great philosopher over here.
No, it's just like, how is it not a good analogy? You don't cry because you want to. I mean, unless you're really happy.
It's because everybody grieves and handles things in their own ways.
Sometimes you do want to cry, though.
Some people just don't cry that much.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can separate those. You can separate those people. I'm talking about the people who do cry.
You also don't have to throw up to get over an illness.
Okay, if you have the
hangover will
stomach,
just wear off eventually.
Yeah, but if you throw up, it'll speed up the process. It's the body's way of relieving itself. It's the same thing with crying.
Apples and oranges, buddy.
Yeah.
Apples and oranges.
It's the same concept.
Even if you can't
You have to
convince
do
us
it to
of it, I
feel
don't
better.
see the significance of it. Like, is that supposed to be inspiring or something?
No,
Like,
it's not inspiring
crying
at all.
is like throwing up.
It's just
oh my
like-
God,
it's just
you
like when
changed
it's-
my life.
No,
Right.
it's like when
Write that on your mirror.
no, it's like
Look
when-
at it every morning.
the day I die and I get buried in the grave that somebody else paid for. Shout out to our last episode on funerals. That'll be something you can put on my tombstone. Crying is like puking. You have to do it to feel better.
Why would we put that on your tombstone?
So should I puke
Because
or cry
because
at your
that's
funeral?
that's what I. Well, it depends. If they serve you bad food there, you can do both. But
Oh, I thought we weren't getting food because you weren't going to pay for the funeral.
well, I hope they don't have one for me. But at another funeral you go to, where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Did you even know?
No. Well, no. You guys, you asked me about my funeral, and that gave me some trauma. So, yeah. Why would it be on my tombstone? Because that's what I'm known for. People who know me know I say this a lot.
Crying and puking?
Yeah.
How often are you in a situation where you're expressing?
I've told a lot of people close to me that that's like my thing. That
I
I'm
can't
known for
believe you'd
saying.
be
And a lot of
saying
people, most
that
people do agree
often.
with me. They're like, oh, that's kind of intelligent. I'm not gonna say it's intelligent. I just think it's a good comparison.
Over
I
here
came up
hyping
with.
himself up. Yeah, people say I'm intelligent.
Not everybody says I'm intelligent.
People say I'm intelligent.
I'm good
when
at
I say
fooling. I'm good
things.
at fooling a few select individuals into thinking I'm intelligent, but
Well, there you have his confession.
yeah, it's a bad habit. Lying. I told you earlier. It's not a good habit to make people think you're something that you're not.
You know what? That would be
That
pretty
you can
interesting
identify as a
if-
fraud for that.
If all three
That's
of us
one of
took
my
an IQ test.
Mine was pretty good.
Uh,
I got a
well, you guys
134
remember
on mine.
Yeah.
where did you take
Look at
it?
you.
The internet.
Well, I'll do it after the show and I'll
I think it was
report
like
back the
20 I
next
think
time.
It was like $24 or something. Didn't take that long.
Interesting.
There's a lot of exams you can take to figure it out.
How'd you guys do on the ACT test?
I took the SAT and I believe I got 1250. I want to say.
I got a 17 on the ACT, which apparently is like the definition of average. 'Cause 34 is like top score. 1's obviously as bad as you can be. So there you
Don't
have
you
it. My brain is the
automatically get-
definition of mediocre.
I think you automatically get like a 2 or a 3 just for putting your name on that thing.
All right. Well, then I'm
That's
probably a little below mediocre.
Would you rather have the ability to see 10 minutes into the future or 150 years into the future?
10 minutes.
Why?
Because I ain't going to be here in 150 years. It'd be nice to know,
So you
like,
think-
for immediately,
So you
it'd be
think
like, okay, well, that's cool.
150
but-
years from now, like, the people living at that point just don't really matter?
No, I'm just saying it doesn't benefit me any to know what's 150 years
Right.
into the future. You
But
know I ain't
that's
making it to
extremely, like,
150.
selfish, right?
No, because what do
Because
I...
if you could see 150 years into the future and you had the opportunity to, like, make a change or
Mm-hmm.
kind of avoid something from happening, like, make it stop,
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of have a responsibility to,
yeah,
to
but
do
see,
that,
that's
right?
that. Yeah, I don't like the
Whether
mindset
it
of
be
thinking that you
easy
can
to
prevent
do or
things
not.
that are inevitable. I think some things are just inevitable. You can try and run from them, but
Yeah,
some,
but something-
not
some things
everything's
aren't.
inevitable.
no. But a lot of
That's quite
stuff
a
is.
doomsday mindset to have.
No,
Yeah, I mean, did you ever watch Back to the Future?
I did. It was a good movie. One of the few movies that I actually watch and enjoy.
See?
But no, 10 minutes.
So
if
if
you
you
can
watch
see 10
that,
minutes,
you know
in-
that not everything's inevitable.
Seeing 10 minutes into
10 minutes isn't exactly that complex, but like if something really good or really bad was to happen in the next 10 minutes, you would have some warning.
10 years might be a better question. 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Why would I want to know what's going to happen 10 minutes from now? Just wait 10
You
minutes.
know,
like
Yeah, there's not really
150 years. That's a,
huge
no-brainer.
benefit
Yeah.
to knowing what's
Why
going to
do
happen.
I care
10
what's going to
minutes.
happen 10 minutes from now?
Right.
Well, you'll be here for 10 minutes. You won't be here for 150 years. That's the
I
counter.
know, but
that's
you
the
can see the
counter
tra-
argument to
You
it.
can see the trajectory.
There's a
I
reason
mean,
there's
the only thing that would help.
I think this is
like
I think the underlying meaning in this question is, what do you care about, yourself or others? If you say 10 minutes, you care
Right.
about yourself. If you say 150, you care about others.
It's not necessarily true.
Well, you just
Because
said
something,
you just
something
said
crazy could happen.
you're-
I could go out in my Jeep and I could get on the road right now and there could be a car accident and I would see that 10 minutes from now and I would get out there and do everything I could to help the scene of the accident. It doesn't necessarily have to be about yourself just because it's only 10 minutes away.
You can't say that your answer doesn't have a selfish motive to it when your reason for not choosing 150 is because I won't be here. That is 100%
You're
a
contradicting
selfish reason.
yourself.
If you really read into it that deep, sure.
I don't think you have to read into it that far. I think it presents
10
itself.
minutes into the future does not have to be about yourself, though. That's generalizing.
What would you get with that information?
Anything can happen in the blink of an eye. So give me 10 minutes. There's a lot of things that could happen.
Yeah, 150 years, though. There's things guaranteed to happen.
There's
Okay,
a lot
well,
of things
10 minutes from now.
Okay, so how long are we seeing into the future for? 30 seconds? A full, like, an hour? A month? A year? If you could see a full year,
well, 10 minutes is a pretty small scale, so I'd imagine you just get a glimpse. You're not just going to jump forward 10 minutes and then see the entire year ahead of you. That's ridiculous. I think it's a no-brainer. I want to see what the world looks like in 150 years.
Well, it took us probably an hour, but we have our first major disagreement.
I mean, what if we've all nuked each other and there's nothing left of humanity? Well, you should probably say something about it. No saying they're going to listen to me, but at least now I know and I can do my part. Yeah. What if global warming, like we talked about in the last episode, what if that fries the planet and all these different species go extinct? What if we go extinct? What if half the country's underwater and all this $1 million real estate in Miami is now the bottom of the Atlantic? Like, that's good stuff to know. 10 minutes from now, like, I'm still going to be sitting in this room doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Yeah, like, what am I going to do with 10 minutes from now?
It's only going to affect your life.
No purpose.
Seeing 10 minutes into the
Not
future.
necessarily.
Almost to the point where if someone was to ask me that right now,
depends
I would
where you're at
decline
and
it
what
because
you're
I
doing.
wouldn't see the value of it. Like, 10 minutes?
Well,
One
if
of
I
the
was to
only
go the
things-
150 year route and let's say global warming fries the planet, you know what the first thing you're doing is you're going and you're telling everybody don't reproduce.
That's how you would handle that?
Yeah, if the planet's going to get fried, you want to bring kids
God,
into that?
You're here and not in
That's
charge.
your solution?
Solution
You
is
want to bring people? You want to
Stop
bring
having
people?
children.
You want to bring
How about you
people
try and-
into this crap?
No, you
Try and
stop
combat the
you
problem
find the root
instead.
cause and you try to reverse it. You
If
don't
it's
just-
150 years into the future and
stop yelling into
and
the
it's
mics.
going
You're
to
gonna
happen,
blow
then
the
you're not
audio
going
out.
to be able to prevent it.
All we're going to hear from your microphone is crackling when I do the edit because you're over there screaming about how you want to see what's going to happen 10 minutes from now. Oh, my goodness.
10 minutes ago, we probably
That
started this
just blows my mind that if you were to go into the future and see that the human race was just fucked from global warming, your solution would be to stop reproducing instead of stop the global warming.
So you're going to bring people into that? There's no way I want to be responsible for someone being brought
I don't
into
see how that has anything to do with it.
There's no way I'm reproducing to
I'd
bring
be
someone else into that
I'd be
problem.
completely indifferent to it. Stop the cause.
If you think one person's going to stop the cause, be my guest. But
Well, it takes all of us. That's what we're trying to say. But there's too
Right.
many blockheads out there who just, there's nothing wrong with gasoline engines. Well, if that's true, then go wrap your mouth around the exhaust pipe for a couple minutes and tell me how you like that. Because that shit doesn't leave the atmosphere. It's still out there. And guess what? It's not good. It's not going to make things better. It's going to make it worse. This is a problem. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Stop having kids. That is not the solution. Like... I guess that's one way to do it. Like,
you can't just lay down.
I mean,
and
the
accept
Nazis
fate.
are taking over Germany. Let's just stop having Jews. Like, the fuck. Like, who thinks that?
Easy to say until you have them.
You're just accepting fate instead of like trying to change fate.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
No.
We just talked about Star Wars. You know what Anakin Skywalker got himself into by trying to change fate? He met his destiny trying to avoid it. Sometimes fate is inevitable.
Fate is not a thing, and
That depends how you view life, because I do believe that, depending on what you believe, some people believe that everything's preordained and that we don't have control over it. But that's a much deeper conversation.
I just don't think you can draw a comparison from a fictional story written by a human that, of course, is going to have a plot and a conclusion, and you're supposed to take meaning away from it. I don't see how that translates to real life. I really don't. Of course, every book has an ending. That doesn't mean
in real life, how many times have you guys ran into a problem by trying to avoid it? How many times going back to what I said earlier. You
Pretty-
see somebody
pretty
that you've
frequently.
wronged in your life, and you see them from a distance in the grocery store, and you try and avoid that person. And in attempting to try to avoid them, you come around the corner and you run into them.
That's just
Yeah,
because
but you're
we live in a small
You're
town.
attempting to
You know?
avoid facing the climate change problem. That's what you're doing.
Well, I'm just saying it's the same concept. Sometimes trying to take the path to avoid the issue will actually bring you closer to the issue.
I disagree.
Well, there you have it. We have our first disagreement.
Yeah, you're so wrong on this.
Yeah.
So wrong on this. You have a responsibility. If you know
Essentially,
that climate change is going to just destroy the earth, you're not just like, hey, stop having kids.
essentially what you're saying
You're
is
just you're turning a blind eye to the issue, and you're like, hey, maybe you should.
Well,
have
you guys
kids.
are delusional if
Give
you
them a
think you can
reason.
get everybody on your side. You're never going to get everybody on
See,
your
and that's
side.
why I'm saying you have a doomsday mentality.
That's not going to happen. You're not going to convince the entire population to completely
because you
change the way they live. That's not going to. That's unrealistic. We're all wired different as human beings. You could be 100% right, and you are based on evidence. That does not mean everybody's going to run to your conclusion. Humans are not that intelligent. Like you said the other day, humans will not try to prevent the problem until it's too late in more cases
So now
than not.
you're blaming humanity now.
That's just how people are wired.
How do we solve any problems then? How did we end world wars? Why didn't we just give up and stop having kids?
Okay, well,
No,
why are
people-
there still problems then? Because humans are always going to fight and have disagreements. Hence, what we're doing right now.
Like what?
People are never going to see eye to eye.
haven't
People
had
are
a-
never going to have the same opinion.
Like what?
Everything. People bicker more than ever. The name of the fucking show is the Bickering Brothers. You're never going to have that
Now
happen.
you're just being an extremist. We haven't been in a world war since the 40s, and you're acting like the world's falling apart.
there's no wars going on overseas right now. You don't think
Not
there's
that-
any chance of World War III that many
there's-
people are preparing for?
Of course, there's always a chance. What are you just gonna do? Sit around and just
You're
fear the day it happens? Like the world has never ran smoother than it's running right now. I think that's pretty fair to say. Like we're having all these discussions about feminism and cancel culture's taking over, and you know why that is? It's because we don't have any bigger fish to fry. If we're fighting a world war right now, nobody's gonna care about somebody's feelings getting hurt on Twitter. The fact of the matter is we're living in peace times, and we have it so good we don't know what to do with ourselves. And you're over there acting like the sky is falling, like the world's falling apart. Like, no, we're doing pretty good.
Okay, you're
right
the
now.
one. You're the and now. You have a very solid point on global warming, but don't tell me that I'm the one acting like we have major problems when you're over here saying that global warming is a real problem. It is, but I'm saying don't act like we have everything figured out, because there are clearly things that are still
relative to history. We're doing pretty good right now.
yeah.
And to say that we can't solve
But-
global warming because there's a bunch of stubborn people in the world is ridiculous.
That's
it's
one
only-
example. It's
in
just,
the last
it's like
10
religion,
if you were-
politics. There's so many different things that people are never going to see eye to eye on, and it's literally insanity to think you're going to make them agree.
They don't all have to agree. We just have to have enough people that agree with it, that are willing to do the right thing and make changes, which we're already seeing, and they get clowned for it. California comes out with these goals that they want to have, electric vehicles by the year 20 whatever, and they get clowned for it. They get laughed at. Oh, electric vehicles aren't the solution. Well, at least they're trying. At least somebody's doing something to try and solve this problem. But people would rather just be against it. It's just easier to hate on it, something to talk about, something to make fun of. All you need is enough people on board with it, and I think we've already seen that. Younger generations coming up. Global warming is gaining a lot of traction. There's a lot of people behind it, and it's only going to continue to get this way. A lot of people don't change. You have to wait for them to die. As sad as that sounds, that is the truth. Things change over the course of time. Difference between generations. Things progress a certain way, and mindsets are going to keep changing as time goes on. I think it's ridiculous to say that global warming is an unsolvable issue.
Well, that's just one issue, but even if you have, we talked about it earlier.
That's the whole basis of this conversation.
Even if people die, and the current people that are here are being raised by people who believe it's an issue. We just talked earlier about being able to think for yourself and adapting to change. There are a lot of people that are still going to continue to have the wrong mindset on that issue. You're never going to get everybody to just buy in.
Well,
but that's the thing. Like, not everyone has to buy in. As long as there's a majority of people who buy in, who overrule the smaller minority,
Yeah, if you want
That's how you get change to happen.
Nothing's ever going to change if we don't all agree on something, then what is the point to the whole political system? Why do we have two separate parties? Why do we even try? We should just stop.
That's a really good question, because having two separate systems was a joke to begin with.
I guess we should just stop having kids, let our country implode. Why doesn't the whole world's population just go away? You know, that the best way to solve humanity's problems is to just not have humanity anymore. That's,
well, there's no problems if there's no humanity.
That's dark. But
I'm just essentially stating what you said, that if there's a problem, you should just try to remove yourself from it instead of try to solve it, which is true in some cases. I'm not going to deny that, but if it's a problem that you have a direct correlation to, that you're partially responsible for, that affects you, then you shouldn't just remove yourself from it.
Well, especially if it's a problem that affects everyone.
You have a responsibility to do your part and do the right thing.
Right.
That's fair.
Is that the end?
I hope so.
We got into it there. Don't call us the Bickering brothers for no reason.
There you go. First time. All episode.
Yeah. It was too good to be true. We were doing so well.
No, it's good to have these conversations, though, because nothing will ever change if you don't have the hard conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather lose your sight or your memories?
Memories.
I'd lose my sight.
Oh, another dispute. Here we go.
Because without your memories, you're nothing. Literally. I don't know if people...
You can make new memories.
You would be starting over. Because your memory includes your ability to speak.
Yeah, but if you can't...
understand people.
I don't think...
Okay, so that's basically... So you could basically rephrase that question. Would you rather die now or start a new life?
I don't know.
Because if you lose your sight, like what... Like...
You're essentially...
Are you saying there's no point in living if you don't have sight?
I apologize to the blind people out there. But yeah, I mean,
they don't have to see ya.
thinking about how your life has went to this point, now remove one of the biggest elements to your life, which is sight, and you're going to live the rest of your life without being able to see anything. Sucks. You're not going to be able to make the same memories that you already had.
Plenty of people have lived, good lives without sight.
Look at Helen Keller.
It depends. Like if you were born into it and you got used to it at an early age, but you're 26 years old and they just tell you, yeah, you're not going to be able to see the rest of your life. You know how depressed you're going to be.
I don't think that would be depressing. I mean, it would be depressing.
Neither one's a good
thing. It's easy to say until somebody says, hey, you're going to have a blindfold on the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, without, I don't think people
Things
really
like
realize how powerful memories are. Without your memory, you're literally nothing. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, you'd have no sense of self.
Everything.
You'd have nothing.
At all. Yeah, all sense, your consciousness, all of it is memory. Without memory, you're nothing.
Everything you've learned to do.
Everything that happens, like, what's the first thing that happens after you're out with your friends and you have a good time? You're thinking about it. That's true of everything. Every interaction you have with somebody, when you walk away, you're thinking about how that conversation went. Mm-hmm. Thinking about whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether you enjoyed seeing that person. Did that person enjoy seeing me? Your entire conscious, your brain, your whole sense of persona is your memory. Without your sight, I mean, neither of these are a good scenario. I'm not going to act like living without your sight would be easy. No. But it's a no-brainer that I'll give up my eyesight and still be able to communicate with people, still have my voice, my hearing, touch, taste, all that. And I can, my memories are still intact. Without your memory, are you even alive? That I would say is the more accurate dead versus start a new life.
Okay, so he makes some really good points. He's right about everything he just said. So I guess for me, it would depend on from this moment forward, because if we're talking from this moment forward versus being born into it, like, because obviously if you start your life, let's just say you start your life and they tell you you're not going to be able to ever remember anything. In that case, I would rather lose my sight, because then I'd be used to it. But when you're 26 years old and they tell you we're removing your sight, that's a hard pill to swallow. But if you're born into it or you develop it at a very young age.
That'd be hard, but so would living life without knowing anything.
But the thing is like if you lost your sight, or you lost your memories at age 26, you still have, I don't know what the average lifespan is these days, 71. You could still start a new life at that age. Yeah, it would suck, but at least you wouldn't walk around blind the rest of your life. So whatever you get used to. I think if you're born into it, it's not that big a deal. But yeah, if somebody told me you're not going to be able to see anything the rest of your life, I'd be depressed.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that either of these would be an easy adjustment. I'm just saying
no, but
losing your sight is...
He is 100% right about memories, though. Memories make up who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys for watching. We're back. At the rate we're going, we're going to do one every 3 days. So don't get your hopes up. Yeah, don't get your hopes up, but we will be back. We thank you for watching until the end. And as Red Green would say, keep your stick on the ice.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. I like that.
Yep.
Best ending yet. Sayonara.